So at this point, I've covered 3 of the 4 songs on my channel. I did Statica, Rejoice, and Ashes. Lights, I didn't think was worth a full episode, but so at this, I'm coming close to about 6 hours talking about this EP. I want to talk about the story holistically. I really think this EP is absolutely fantastic. I think it's a great example of what music is capable of and almost exclusively capable of, right? This idea of telling these unique stories, but that there's a consistent through line that reaches a pinnacle, that reaches its peak as like a final message to the listener and what the listener should take away from it. So let's go through very briefly on each song and discuss that through line for the EP, because there is an overarching story to this EP. So you start off with Lights. Lights is essentially from the perspective of like AI and technology just compiling humanity into itself endlessly, right? Let me get the lyrics real quick, but I believe it says like, it's literally saying like, yeah, every second lived being watched, every moment feeling felt being learned, every moment feeling felt being learned, every piece within frame given away, every word said unsaid being memory. It's like this inhuman expression. It's this inhuman robotic view of, sorry, my fucking light, piece of shit. I'm just gonna turn it off. Sick of dealing with it. Yeah. Anyway, what he's saying is like, this is a robot. Lights is about a robot. AI as a whole, absorbing humanity. So then you get Statica, right? And Statica is from the point of view of a person. And this person in Statica has sort of lost themselves in technology. They've reached a stagnant state in their life. They have nowhere to go. Maybe they've reached out for help, and they've gotten nothing but a dial tone. And ultimately they've found that they can use technology as a means of sort of replicating human emotion, playing the tape to hear laughter. I think that's like actually turned out to be one of the most impactful lines of that song for me, playing the tape to hear laughter, because they can't hear laughter normally in their lives. So this awareness of like, we can use technology to replicate the past, to sort of trap ourselves in the past and simulate humanity. Statica unfortunately ends with our character fully succumbing to that state of stagnation via technology, which is why that song ends on such a dark, harrowing note. Rejoice picks up kind of where that left off, maybe from a different character, where the character is just kind of brain dead and sort of just what's the word? Carelessly, carefree, living in this state of stagnation. Sign says store, that's the name. Beer says, or can says beer, mostly foam, right? It's like they don't care. They're stagnant and they just don't have a thought, but in their minds. But there's something about it that's constantly building within them. There's a tension and unease, which eventually has its breaking point in the first bridge of Rejoice, where he sort of laments like, do I even feel now? Do I even dream now, right? Like he realizes that even though he's fully embraced the stagnant lifestyle and allowed technology to just smooth his brain, he doesn't have a life anymore. He doesn't really have anything going for him anymore. And so the song, luckily, Rejoice, kind of ends with him breaking away from that, breaking away from the state of stagnation, breaking away from technology and its grip on him, and choosing to sort of live without that stuff. And that brings us to Ashes, right? Where we have maybe the same character, maybe a different one, but we have a character who is separated from that, but is now going through a little bit of a crisis, questioning how we got to this point to begin with. What led us, what causes us to create the things that destroy us? Why did we create this technology that is so harmful to us as a species? And, he compares it to prior generations like the West and the gold rush and all of that as a means of creating creating a through line of like, there's something intrinsic about humanity that causes us to do this seeking false pursuits, worthless pursuits, salted minds, right? And he's questioning like, okay, I wanted to break out of it, but can I? is it even possible to truly break away from this world that we're in? And even beyond me, is it possible for humanity as a whole to break away? These are the questions our character is asking himself, and it's unfortunately leading him to some kind of dark conclusions about like the fate of humanity being just ashes. We're going to burn ourselves to the ground because we are creating the architecture that will destroy us, AI, etc. And so the final message of Ashes and the final message of the EP is, you know, have we really gone so far? You know, is it too late already? You know, can I walk through the door same as before? The door being that, like, you know, that step backwards, going back to a place, maybe not even back to a place, but entering a stage of humanity where we're not where we're not doing that, right? Because remember in the second verse, he said, lied like a friend, locked the door, salted the mind, sold a dream once more. This idea that we lie to ourselves as a species, and we create our own worthless pursuits that lead to our destruction. We're the ones who close the door on ourselves. Can we actually even reopen the door? And even if we could, is it too late with where we're at right now with technology and AI and as a species to go back through the door same as before, and even change the path that we're on? Is it even possible? And so, yeah, that is what a profound way to end it. This, you know, this EP about stagnation, static as a force, right? A force of stagnation, but also static as a sort of a symbol of technology and sort of the technology trapping us and stealing our humanity and compiling it to a degree, right? I think the word compiled is used a few times over this EP. And so it's like, that's ultimately the message of the EP is, you know, are you going to allow technology to rule your life, take your humanity, compile it all away, or are you going to leave your rules at the door, leave it behind, and enter that world? And then that's the personal message. And then on a broader level, it's asking us as a species, are we even capable at this point? Do we really think that we're so far gone that we can't go back? And that's the question, right? Could I walk through the door same as before? I'd like to think no. I think maybe M Shadows would probably like to think no, but it's tough to say at this stage, you know, with how early on in AI we're at. So overall, this EP is brilliant. It's a wonderful EP. It's so deep. I really don't think people have given it credit for how well thought out and planned out this overarching story is. And I mean, if you don't believe me, like I said, I just spent 6 hours breaking this whole fucking thing down. So go watch some of my other breakdowns, or at least watch some of the clips that I've posted or something, right? If you want to hear my deeper perspective on stuff. But yeah, it's a brilliant EP. I'm so happy with where Avenged is at. Really, like, you just don't get music like this from anyone else. You don't get music that is this well thought out and well structured and well planned, but also willing to actually take a risk with the sound in order to bolster the theme. Because again, remember, this is my message throughout all of this. All the decisions that they made, the structure, the auto-tune, the sound of the guitars, the mix, and the lyrics and the story, it is all there to bolster the theme and the broader idea that they are trying to impress upon the listener. And which I just summarized, right? And I just think that them being uncompromising on that is one of the things that makes them such a great band, and why fans of them are so passionate, and why I'm so passionate and they're my favorite band. It'd be different if all of this was just random, but it's not. It's not random. They do all of this with so much purpose that it's like very fulfilling as a fan, as a listener, and as a musician to break these songs down and examine them. So yeah, go listen to this EP, go give it a chance, read the lyrics and try to understand the ideas, and every line matters in this EP. It's really amazing. So I wish that more people treated music like this, and I wish that more artists were willing to really not even take a risk, but have this type of artistic vision and then just hone in on it, be completely uncompromising on it. Because we really, I mean, with the rise of AI, that's kind of what we need to a degree, right? And it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Where, you know, they say, leave your rules at the door in the last song. And they embrace that ideology of like, if we really want to change, if we really want to drive our art and our culture and our civilization and species and world to a better place, we've got to be willing to change our mindset about how things can be, and be willing to let go of some of the preconceived notions that we have about culture and the world as it is today. And what better way to do that than to release an EP that really does completely toss away any notion of like cultural norms with regards to music. Because it does. I mean, there is nothing conventional about these songs. You can try to tie through lines to it, to like other songs and styles and artists, but the truth is that they aren't basing this music off of other artists. They're basing this music off of, like, they are on their own journey, as they have been throughout their whole career. And all of this music is very much centered on the theme and idea that they are going for. They are not trying to be culturally relevant or appeal to cultural norms in any way whatsoever. So they are practicing what they preach. That's what I'm saying. So I have the utmost appreciation for this album, or this EP. It feels like an album. It's so dense, but this EP, I have the utmost appreciation. I'm very fulfilled by it, and it's been a pleasure breaking it down over these past 3 weeks.